Hello, good evening, Lourdes. Good evening, Sharai. Thanks for being on time. I'm going to start the class with you. All right. So let's continue with the past perfect. This is the new tense that we are learning. And remember that is to talk about, right, the earlier event in past. That is very important to recognize. All right. That's the main difference with simple past. The past perfect is not used, all right, that often, but when you use it, is in that kind of situations, all right, to refer or to talk about like the previous event, even previous to the simple past tense. Let's keep practicing then. I know that you were having like, and you had some questions in general, right, and some doubts. So that's what we're going to do today. All right, I'm going to wait for at least one of you, all right, one more to be in class to assign the quiz. But let's work on the review and let's try to remember a little bit about the past perfect. You know that we were making the difference between these two ideas, and I want to put emphasis on this idea one more time. All right. So please, Lourdes, if you can help me with these two sentences and you can read them.
Okay, number one, in June, she traveled to the US. And number two, by June, she had traveled to the US.
Thank you very much, Lourdes. So we said something, right? We already read this information. We already have like the knowledge what this is, right? But I'm going to remind you. In the first sentence, in the simple past sentence, right? The first one, we say in June, and then we use simple past. It means that that action happened in June, all right? That action happened in June. But in the second sentence, when you say by June, and when you use the past perfect, she had traveled, it means that that action happened before June, okay? It didn't happen in June. It couldn't happen after June, right? The only option is that it happened before June. That's something I told you, all right? I know that some of you were not present, right, in that explanation. That's why I'm doing it one more time to refresh and to give you that information. Now, I would like, please, Sharai, if you can try to explain in your words, all right, using your own words, one more time, what's the difference between sentence number one and sentence number two, please?
Teacher, I'm really sorry. I couldn't listen you very well.
All right, don't worry. I'm going to explain one more time, Sharai, all right? And you're going to do it. So one more time. In the first sentence, right, in June, and with simple past, this action happened in the past, and it happened exactly, all right, and specifically speaking, in June, all right? It happened in June, not May, not July, right? It happened in June, all right? That's simple past. In the second sentence, when you say by June, and when you use the past perfect, this action happened before June, all right? It couldn't have been in June, and it couldn't have been after June. The only option is before June, all right? So that's the main difference between simple past and past perfect, all right? So simple past for specific actions that happened in a specific, all right, time in the past, and past perfect for actions that happen in the past before a specific time. All right, so let's try, please. And I'm going to make all of you participate, but let's try one more time with you, please, Sharai. I don't know if you were able to listen this time.
Okay, teacher. This time I could listen very well. So
Great.
in the first sentence, we are talking about an action that happened in the past. And in the second sentence, we're talking about an action that happened in the past, but not exactly in and the time we mention in the sentence, right? Something like that.
Yes, correct. But only one detail. If you say that it's not that happened in that specific time, can it happen before the time you mention or after the time you're mentioning Sharai in the second sentence? Can it be after and before, or only after the time that you're mentioning in the past?
Yes, it's only before the time I mentioned in the sentence.
Good, perfect. Thank you very much, Sharai. That's correct. Thank you. Yes. So once again, then yes, that's the main idea. All right. Simple past action that happened in a specific time in the past, and past perfect, an action, right? A past action that happened before a specific time in the past. All right. So in that specific time, before that specific time. Please remember that, because I know that it can be hard to understand past perfect, but if you memorize that idea, it's going to be easy for you. This is something we already read. Please try to also keep that idea in mind. We're going to read it one more time to review. Please, if with me, you can help me by reading introduction one more time, please.
Okay, teacher. Use the past perfect to talk about a past event that happened before another past event. It means that the past perfect will always be the earlier event in the past.
Thank you very much, Will. All right, so this is very important. Imagine that you're telling a story. In a story that you're telling in the past, please keep that in mind. The first event in the past, or the earlier event in the past, it's always going to be the sentence with the past perfect. All right. If you say, for example, I traveled to the US, but in the same idea you say, I had studied in Bolivia, it means that first you studied in Bolivia, and second that you traveled to the US, right? So it's always the first event, all right? Or always the earlier event, the sentence in the past perfect, okay? And this is the structure. You have to remember also this idea. I know that this was a different way of doing this. Perhaps that was, well, that was the reason it was confusing, but remember, you need a subject, always this, here it's not a verb, it's an auxiliary verb, okay? Always the auxiliary had. Then you need a verb, right, in the past participle, and finally you need a complement. Please, if you want to give me a sentence in the past perfect, you have to use had, always had. And after had, you use any verb in the past participle. And that's what I'm going to be asking you now. I'm going to start easy, all right? And I'm going to be like increasing the difficulty to see how much you know. But I want to know if you know what's the past participle, right? I know that some of you do, but I want to verify. So this question is for you. I'm going to go back to you, Lourdes, first, all right? Lourdes, what are the past participle forms of the verbs first go and then see? What is the past participle of those two verbs, Lourdes? What do you say? Are you there, Lourdes? Okay, I think we're having some problems. I'm going to go then with you one more time. Sharai, what do you think, Sharai? What are the past participle forms of the verbs go and see?
I don't remember actually, teacher.
What about the simple past? Do you remember the simple past? What is the simple past of go?
Go, it's went.
Exactly. And the past participle is also with G, and it ends with E. It's 4 letters. What do you say? What can it be? And C, let's go with C. Well, C, what is the simple past of C?
Saw.
So exactly. And the past participle starts with S and ends with N. And it's also like forwards. All right?
Of see, the past participle is a son. I don't remember how to pronounce,
Very
but
close.
it's
Can you spell it? Try to spell it. I'm going to tell you if it's okay.
it's SAWN.
Yeah, so, but that's the simple past, right? You say, for example, I saw a movie. But for example, you know the present perfect, right? Do you remember, or can you tell me a sentence in the present perfect, Sharai? Do you remember what's the present perfect? It's not, this is the past perfect, right? What we're doing here. But do you remember the present perfect? Have you ever used that tense?
I
For example,
always have a lot of troubles with make a sentence of simple present or some
okay,
of
don't worry.
present
I'm
perfect.
going to give you an example, Sharai, and you're going to try to tell me another example. My example is, look, simple past, I saw a movie, all right? I saw a movie, and it's the word that you told, right? So in simple past, you use the verb conjugated in simple past, right? I saw a movie, right? The present perfect is with the auxiliaries have and has a sharai, okay? So it's going to be I have seen, and I'm telling you that's the past participle, all right? I'm writing that in the chat. So the past participle of see is seen, all right? But this is present perfect. So the present perfect is I have seen a movie. What is the difference, all right? Just briefly, because I don't want you to like focus on that idea. The present perfect is a past action, but that can have a relation, all right, or contact with the present. It doesn't happen with the past perfect, all right? But the present perfect, yes. I have seen a movie. Now, with that idea, Sharai, can you give me, using the same words, the same verbs, can you give me that sentence, but in the past perfect?
Past perfect.
Exactly. It's on my screen.
I have seen.
Correct.
I have seen a movie.
That's it. Okay, that's it. So you have then four tenses, Sharai. All right, I'm showing you this because you're going to be using the same verbs. First sentence, simple past, right? I saw a movie, simple past. Second sentence, present perfect. In present perfect, Sharai, you use have and has as auxiliaries, all right? And you say, I have seen a movie. And in the past perfect, the only thing that you change, Sharai, is the have. So instead of have or has, you have to use had, right? And you're going to say, I had seen a movie. But I showed you that example, Sharai, because that's the conjugation that you have to use, all right? Seen. So go. I'm going to go for a different person. Whitney, what do you say of the verb go and the verb give? What are the past participle forms of those two verbs?
Go and give, right?
Yes, correct.
Given and gone.
Gone, exactly. Thank you very much. I'm going to write that in the chat, okay, so that everybody has it. So given is the past participle of give, and gone, right, is the past participle of go. Now, let's try to do the same, please, with me, just to practice the difference. Try to give me one sentence, but, well, it's going to be actually three sentences, but it's going to be the same idea as I did, right? I saw a movie, I have seen a movie, and I had seen a movie. Can you give me one idea using simple past, present perfect, and past perfect, please, with me? Just one idea.
Okay. Go.
And you can use give or go.
Okay. Go.
Okay, let's do it with go.
I went to the university.
Mhm.
I had gone to the university. I have gone to the university.
Great. Thank you very much, Whitney. That's correct, right? I went to the university, simple past. I have, first I'm going to say the present perfect, right? So I have gone to the university, present perfect, and I had gone to the university, that's past perfect, all right? Again, I'm practicing this with you because I want to be sure that you know how to conjugate the verbs. Why? Because you need to know the past participle, right? You need to know the past participle form of the verbs you're going to use in the past perfect. I'm going to continue, right? I'm going to be asking some more verbs. Mariana, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
All right. Hello, Mariana. So I'm going to ask you the same questions about some verbs, Mariana. You can tell me what you know, okay? It can be the past conjugations that you know. It doesn't matter if it's simple past or past participle, but do you know how to conjugate the verbs get and the verbs eat in past? What are the past forms of get and eat, Mariana?
The get is got,
Good.
and eat, I think, eaten.
All right, so in the first one, you're telling me the simple past, right? Get, got, that's perfect. And in the second one, you're telling me the past participle, right? That's perfect because it's going to be eat, ate, and eaten, right? Good. But do you know, got also can be past participle, but what is the real past participle of got, of get? Because it's get, got, and there's one more conjugation in the past. Do you know the other conjugation in past of get, Mariana? It's very close.
Gotten.
Gotten, exactly. That's great. So you have gotten, all right, and you have eaten. So in the chat, you can see already many verbs in past participle. Seen, given, gone, gotten, eaten, right? Now let's try to do this exercise with you, Mariana. If you were paying attention, I was working with 3 different sentences, Mariana, in the simple past, in the present perfect, and in the past perfect. And this is the example. Simple past, I saw a movie, right? Present perfect, I have seen a movie. And past perfect, I had seen a movie. Give me also 3 sentences, please, Mariana, with the same one idea using any of the verbs that you gave me. You can use get or you can use eat. Let's try, please, Mariana.
Yeah, the first can be I eaten a sandwich.
Okay, but if the first one is going to be in the simple past, you need to conjugate it in the simple past. Eaten is the past participle. Let's say that that's the last conjugation. The first conjugation in past, remember, is ate, all right? A-T-E, all right? Ate. So I'm going to write the 3 conjugations in the chat, Mariana. So in the first example in simple past, you need the simple past conjugation. So eat, ate, and eaten, all right? In the chat, you have the 3. So for the simple past, you need the second conjugation. For the present perfect, you need the third conjugation. And for the past perfect, you need also the third conjugation. So let's try one more time, please, Mariana.
Okay, it can be I ate a sandwich.
Perfect. That's simple past. Very good. That's perfect.
The second can be I had eaten a sandwich.
Perfect. Great. I had eaten a sandwich.
The third, I don't know very well the third, but I think I had eat a sandwich.
Okay, actually, let's try to repeat them one more time. What was your second sentence, Mariana? What was your second sentence?
I had ate a sandwich.
You use had and then you use eaten, right? Because after had, you have to use the verb in the past participle, right? So you said that, it was correct. I had eaten a sandwich. That's perfect, all right? I had eaten a sandwich. The only one that is missing is the present perfect. The only difference, Mariana, is that instead of had, you're going to use have, all right? Have. And the rest of the sentence is the same. So let's try that last sentence in the present perfect with have.
I have eaten a sandwich.
And you need the verb in the past participle also. If you say eat, is base form and it's incorrect. What is the past participle of eat?
I have ate.
The other one?
Eaten, sorry.
Eaten, exactly.
I
Here,
have eaten a sandwich.
very good, exactly. Here, we don't use the base form, so we're never going to use it. All right, so
Okay.
in the three sentences, you're using only the two conjugations, Mariana, ate or eaten. So one more time, it was, I ate a sandwich, that's simple past. I have, go on, please, Mariana.
I had eaten a sandwich.
Correct.
And I have eaten a sandwich.
Exactly.
I have eaten a sandwich.
Exactly, Mariana. So the only change between the past perfect and the present perfect, Mariana, if you see, is the auxiliary. In the present perfect, you say, I have eaten. But in the past perfect, this tense, you say, I had eaten. All right? I'm showing you the differences, and I'm showing you when you're going to use past participle. It means the last conjugation, or simple past. It means the second conjugation. All right? So these were the formulas: affirmative, negative, and questions, right? So let's try to work with these, please. I know that you've been practicing with me, but to be sure that it's going to be clear for everybody, let's go to the document. All right, let's go to the document. If you can go there by yourselves, it's going to be great. But I'm sharing the link. Go to your names, and please, let's write two sentences. All right, let's write two sentences in the past perfect. It means you need to use the conjugation with had and the past participle. Okay, two sentences in the past perfect. And all right, so the link is in the chat. You should be able there now. The formula is on my screen. All right, you have to use this formula. In affirmative, right, you use this one over here. All right, so this is for affirmative, this is for negative. Let's work on that, please, and you're going to tell me if you have any questions. All right, so it's going to be better if you write one affirmative sentence and one negative sentence, all right? But if you're writing two affirmative sentences or two negative ones, it doesn't matter. All right, so some of you had finished. I'm going to check those ones. The rest of you, please, if you didn't, you can keep working, and I'm going to check after that. All right, so I'm going to start with you, please, Lourdes. Can you read the two sentences that you wrote, the past perfect, please?
Okay. She had been traveled around the world by January, and he had run early in the morning before breakfast.
All right, thank you very much, Lourdes. So let's check. I have only one observation in the first one. You have the option of use had been, but then you need to use ing, and that's going to be the past perfect continuous. All right, but right now, if we only want to focus on the past perfect, you need to decide, Lourdes, if your main verb is going to be been or your main verb is going to be traveled. I think because of the context, your main verb is better to be traveled. So you don't need to use been here. Why? Because if you use been, this sentence is in passive form. She has been traveled. It's like people traveled her. All right, something like that. So if you want to change this to active and use only the past perfect, it would be she had traveled, right, around the world by January, right? It means that she did that before this date, all right? But again, you only need the conjugation with be if you're going to use be as the main verb, or if you're going to use the past perfect continuous, but after been, you need one more verb in ing. But that's something we're going to cover later on. I don't know if you have any questions about that observation, Lourdes.
No, teacher, everything is clear.
Great. Thank you very much. I think the second one's great, had run, right? Because run is the same in the past participle form, right? That's great. Great. Thank you very much, Lourdes. I'm going now with you, please. Whitney, if you can read yours.
Okay. She has gotten an important scholarship to Toronto. The saddest person had sold an expensive car, which the brand is B&B.
All right, good, great. So the first one had gotten, right? And you conjugate it very well. And the second one had sold. Good, which the brand? Yes. Also, you can say this last part differently. All right. You can say, for example, right, which brand, perhaps directly which brand or which the brand. Sometimes it sounds weird, but also an expensive car, you can use that because you are identifying the car, but it seems like an extra information. When it sounds like extra information, in punctuation, you can add a comma before that which, and it's going to be better. All right, but that's great. In terms of the structure and past perfect, it's great with me. Thank you very much. And I'm going to try to go with, if you have any questions, or right, any of you, you can let me know and I'm going to check with you. All right, I'm going up with you, Sharai, first. Let's read your sentences, please, Sharai.
Okay, teacher, the first one is they had eaten lasagna made by his mom. And the next one, he had driven my car.
Great, good. You're conjugating very well. Had eaten, had driven, and then you are using some complements, right? It seems to be great, Sharai. I have no observations over there. Thank you. And let's finish this up with you, please. Mariana, I can help you with the last sentence if you didn't finish yet.
Okay, teacher, I'm very confused. I think that I don't understand very well, but the first one is I had awakened too late this morning.
Okay, when you say awaken, it's also very similar to wake up, but I suggest you to use wake up here, because if you say I had awakened, it's like a different way of sometimes when you start using your senses, sometimes you can say I awaken when you like realized about something or when you are already awake. But in here, because of your sentence, too late, I would only use wake up. What is the past? So past wake, right? Wake is the present form, right? The base form, wake. The simple past is woke, and the past participle is only waken. So you're going to say better here. I had waken up. All right. Or sorry, woken up. That was my mistake. All right, woken up. To is like infinitive. You need another O because you want to say like too late, right? You want to say like, for example, you woke up at 12 or at noon or at 1 p.m. That's that too late you want to use, right? Like exaggeration. Mariana, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let's do one more time. What I did, subject, very good. The auxiliary had, then you're using the verb wake up, all right? So wake up is base form. Woke up is simple past. And woken up, all right? I was confused with the other one. Woken up is the past participle, all right? That's the one you use. And then this is the complement. Now here, what is the verb that you want to use here, Mariana? What is the base form of the verb that you want to use?
Make.
Make, right? So
Or prepare.
Repair?
Prepare.
Okay, like that repair?
Yes.
Okay, so this is easy. When you have a verb that is regular, it means if the past of the verb is with ed, the simple past is with ed, and the past participle is with ed. So that's the only conjugation, all right? That's the advantage of regular verbs, Mariana. The conjugation in simple past and in past participle is only with ed. So he had repaired what? What is the complement there, Mariana? What had he repaired?
Car.
Okay.
His car.
Good. There you go. All right. And that's it, right? That is past perfect. Okay. So what is what you need, Mariana, one more time, and everybody? You always need had. After had, you always need a different verb, but in the past participle. If it's irregular, the past participle is different. If it's regular, the past participle is only with ed. With that explanation, all right, we're going to keep working because we already worked on some more examples. But again, when do you use then the past perfect? Because when do you say I bought a car? When do you say I have bought a car? And when do you say I had bought a car? So I'm going to explain you that because I think it's very important to do it. And I'm going to do it here, right? First, I'm going to write examples. I bought I'm using these examples, but in their context, all right? In the context in which you use these conjugations. All right. And actually, I'm going to do this. Good. So you're going to help me with these sentences, please. Lourdes, if you can read the 3 sentences that I wrote here, please.
Okay, I bought a car in 1990. I have bought a car before,
Good.
and I had bought a car by 1990.
Thank you very much, Lourdes. So, simple past, I bought a car in 1990. The good thing, again, sometimes the verb is the same in the simple past and in the past participle. That's the case here. Sometimes it's different. Look, you can say something like this, she, and we're going to use which verb? Give, yes. She gave, right, a speech. Last, all right, Friday. You're going to try to understand this with me because, again, I think it's very important to do it. I'm going to copy and paste, but I'm going to make some changes. All right, so here it will be, she has given, all right, and a speech many times, right? Good. And now here it's going to be past perfect. Had given a speech before you arrived. Now help me out with these 3 sentences, please, with me, if you can help me out with this one.
I read.
Yes, please. The 3 sentences with she.
Okay. She gave a speech last Friday. She has given a speech many times. She had given a speech before you arrived.
Thank you very much. All right. So I'm doing this. This is extra, all right? But I think it's important that you know when to use the past perfect and you know when to use the simple past. Okay? First, what differences do you see? I'm going to be asking some of you. So, Sharai, what differences do you see between the 3 sentences here and here? What is the difference for you between the simple past, the present perfect, and the past perfect in these 3 sentences and in the context that I'm using? What do you say, Sharai?
Well, what I can see is the simple past. It's an action that happened in a specific time in the past.
Correct. Very good.
The present perfect. Well, I have many confusions about that, but in the past perfect, it's something, an action that happens. An action that happened before something happens. I don't know.
And not something happens before something happened, right? Because it's also in the past. But yes, perfect. That's great. That's the main difference, Sharai. Great job. Simple past for specific and definite actions in the past, right? When did you buy a car? I bought a car in 1990, all right? If it's the simple past, it has to be definite, all right? Specific. That's very important. Definite, specific. The present perfect can be confusing, but look, actually, Sharai, it's very simple because it's the opposite of the simple past. It's also a past action, but it's indefinite. Always indefinite and unspecific. All right? Indefinite and unspecific. And finally, you have the past perfect that you said it very well, right? The earlier past event. It means, right, before another past event. So this is when you use these tenses. When you want to talk about a definite, specific action in the past, I'm going to complete that. You use the simple past. All right, I bought a car in 1990. When you want to mention something in the past, but you don't want to mention a specific time, it's very specific. You use, and you can say also action in the past. You use the present perfect. Also, one thing here, I'm going to say, non-specific, it's okay. All right, and specific, non-specific, you use the present perfect. When you don't know when it happened, or when you don't want to mention when it happened. All right, but it's also past. And here, this is the tense that we are learning. So I'm going to make this with bold letter. When you want to mention a past event that happened before another past event. For example, this action, I have bought a car, happened before this time, right? Before 1990. So it can be before another past event or a specific, right? Or before another specific, no, it's okay. All right, so you use the past perfect before another past event or before a specific time in the past. These are, all right, the cases in which you use these conjugations. So that's simple past, this is present perfect, and this is past perfect. Okay, again, you have to know how to conjugate these tenses. In the first one, simple past. In the second one, with auxiliary, past participle. And in the third one, also with auxiliary and past participle. If you realize it happens the same, I'm going to go up again, but let me go here. And I know that you listen to this, but let's try to explain this one more time. You, Mariana, let's try this with you. Can you explain the difference then between these three sentences? It's very similar to what Mariana said and to what I added. What do you say, Mariana? What are the differences for you between these three sentences?
I think that in the first, obviously, it's a specific time when she gave us the speech.
Very well.
And the second one, I think,
what do you say about the second one? For example, in the second one,
I think that it don't have a specific time, like a specific date or time in the day.
Yes, correct.
It's like something like she did, but it don't have a specific time or date or hour when she
very
did
good.
it.
Great, very good, Mariana. And the last one?
I think that it's like a specific, not like a specific time, but I think it's like the first.
Yes, but what is the difference between the last one and the first one? Because you're right, actually, the first one and the last one also here. If you realize, the first one is specific, but this is also specific. But what is the difference between the first one, between I bought a car in 1990 and I had bought a car by 1990? Both are specific, but this happened at this specific time. And the last one happened before that specific time. And if you realize here, Mariana, is it happening the same here? Do you think that this action is happening before a specific time in the past?
Yes.
Yes, it is, right? This action, right, the first one, it happens at a specific time in the past, all right? So perhaps that's going to help you out. It happens, all right? Or it happened, let's keep that idea. It happened at a specific time in the past. But this one, it happened, right, before a specific time in the past. So that is
Oh,
the,
I understand.
okay,
Yes.
do you get the idea now? The
Yes.
simple past happens, all right, or happened at this specific time. But the past perfect happened before that specific time. Okay, so that is the difference between these three sentences. Simple past, present perfect, and past perfect. And again, this one, as you mentioned, indefinite, right? Indefinite. They want to say non-specific or unspecific. That's it. I don't know if you have any questions about this, Mariana, Sharai, Whitney, Lourdes. Let me know, please. This was something extra, but I wanted to do this with you so that you know when to use the past perfect. So I'm going to be asking one by one. Whitney, do you have any questions about the difference between simple past, present perfect, and past perfect? Do you know when to use the past perfect?
I understand, teacher.
Great, thank you very much. What about you, Lourdes? Do you understand the difference between these three, and do you get like when to use them?
Yes, teacher, it means clear.
Great, thank you very much. What about you, Sharai? Do you have any questions about these differences?
No, teacher, now it's clear. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. And what about you, Mariana? Any questions about this? Do you know now when to use the past perfect?
Yes, teacher, I can understand better now.
Great, that's great. Thank you very much. So that is past perfect. That's why, remember, I gave you these sentences. These are like introductory phrases or sometimes introductory sentences or clauses. You use these expressions with the past perfect, and now you understand why, right? By the time someone did something, something happened before that. So you use past perfect. By 1990, something happened before 1990. What? You had bought a car. That happened before that year. You had finished your career. That happened before that date. You had traveled to the US. That happened by that year. So, do you realize you like mention a specific time in the past and then you use the past perfect? All right, to say, I did that before this action. So I'm going to ask you to do this one more time, please, girls. I'm going to modify this once again. But remember, you have to do this. Any conjugation that you decide to use it with the past perfect after it. So it's going to be any of those conjugations plus past perfect, that conjugation plus past perfect, the same over here, right? Any of those conjugations, let me hide this, plus past perfect. Let's work with only these expressions, please. All right, with only these. By. So please, with me, Lourdes, Sharai, Mariana, go to the file and write two sentences using first one expression with by and a sentence in the past perfect. Okay, that's what you need to do. One conjugation with by and a, so let me close this, and a sentence in the past perfect. Okay, let me know if you have any questions, please. okay? And I can mention some examples. Remember, only with by, okay? Only use these expressions over here, please. By. If you're having some problems, you can say, for example, by the time you finished your exam, right? I had, whatever you want, I had finished mine. It means that you finished first. By 1990, right, she had finished her career. That happened before 1990. By the middle of that year, I had, I don't know, right, obtained or gotten a scholarship. And that happened before the middle of that year. Okay, so let's work on that, please. Okay, and remember that is the formula in case you don't remember. Subject, had, verb in the past participle.
Teacher, sorry, one question. Both sentence we have to use the expression by. Your
Okay,
microphone,
my
teacher.
microphone was up. Okay, yes. So, yes, Sharai, in both sentences, please. One can be, for example, by the time someone did something, and the other one can be by 2010, something like that. Okay, but both sentences with by.
Thank you, teacher.
All right, no, you're welcome. Okay, and if you don't remember, this is for everybody, all right? If you don't remember what is the simple, the past participle of your verb, you can go to Google, right? Past participle of go, past participle of give, past participle of see. Any verb that you want to check, go to Google. Be sure that you're going to be use the past participle. If not, I'm going to help you out. All right, past participle is the name of the verb conjugated in that way. Okay, remember it has to be I had gone, she had gone, they had gone. Gone is the past participle of go. I had seen, they had seen, she had seen. Seen is the past participle of see, right? So gone, seen, given, made. You have other ones, right? Gotten, eaten, right? Past participle, all right? Had plus past participle. That is the past perfect. And you have to use the past perfect after your expression with by. Okay? All right, so I'm going to start checking some of your examples. I'm going to begin with you, please, Lourdes, if you can read your 2 sentences or examples.
Okay, by the time she was 20 years old, she already had a child. By the first semester, they had met at the university.
Good, that's great. Just, I'm going to ask this to verify for everybody. So Lourdes, in the first sentence, what is the first past action and what is the second past action? What happened first and what happened second?
First, she had a child, and then she was 20 years old. And in the second one, first they met at the university, and then it was the first semester.
Good, great, very good. So only one thing, remember, I think it was something that you forgot. In the first sentence, remember that you have to use the past perfect. Now it's in the simple past. How do you change that to the past perfect, Luis? The first sentence. She already had a child. How do you say that in the past perfect? Because right now,
she already had
and actually, you're going to repeat 2 times had, right? And already is better if it's in the middle. So it's going to be, she had already had a child, right? Why? Because had is the auxiliary verb and had is the past participle of have, right? She had already had a child. All right, do you agree with me, Lourdes? Or what do you think about that?
Yes, teacher.
All right, good. So remember, always past perfect to mention something earlier. That's great. Thank you very much, Lourdes. I'm going now with you, please, Whitney. If you can read your examples for me, please.
Okay, by the time I checked in the university, I had decided to change my career. By 29, my little sister had been born while I was in school.
Okay, good. I think it's great. Very good. The same question just to verify. In the first sentence, which one is the first past event and which one is the second past event, Whitney? What happened first and what happened second?
First, I had decided to change, and the second, I checked in the university.
Great, that's perfect. And what about the second one? What is the first one? First, it was 29, or what was the first one and what's the second one?
My little sister had been born, the first, and I was in the school, the second.
Okay, and actually this can be like, while I was in school, that's something that happened at the same time, right? So both are like the first, but what is the second? The second one is that it was 9, right?
Maybe
so first,
if I change I was and I went to the school.
If you say that, it's going to be a little bit weird because right now it's correct. Right now it's great. It says, right, by 2009, my sister had been born while I was in school. So this is the action that happened before 2009. So now it's perfect. The first action is this action, this complete action. And the second action is that it turned to this year. Right? So perhaps it happened in 2008, 2007, right? That's more or less the idea. So right now it's perfect. If you change this to and I went to, it's going to sound a little bit weird because this is something that happened before, and then you use simple past. It's going to be like mixing the tenses. Right now, like that, it's perfect. All right, good, perfect. Thank you very much. And Mariana, we can go with you, please. Read the sentence that you have, and I'm going to help you out with the next one.
Okay, the first is, by the middle of the last year, I had adopted a dog.
Good, very good. That's great. The sentence is perfect, Mariana. Just a
Okay.
question to verify. In this sentence, before going to the next one, what is the action that happened first and what is the action that happened second? All right, it says there it's last year. What is the action that happened first and what is the action that happened second here, Mariana? First, it was the middle of the last year, or first you adopted a dog? What is first?
I think that adopted the dog.
Very good. Always. You see that, Mariana? When you see past perfect, directly that is the first past action.
Yes.
Okay? It doesn't matter where it is, it's always going to be the first past action. So the middle of the last year, it's going to be the second. The second one, when you want to use by the time, first you need to write a sentence, a specific sentence, but in the simple past first. Mariana, for example, you can say something like, by the time she arrived, by the time you, I don't know, finished something. So what simple sentence, simple past sentence can you give me before the past perfect, Mariana? All right, because it's going to be like,
I wanted to write that I made cookies.
okay, good. So look, you're going to add that to this idea. Look, so you can say, by the time, right, you called me, you can say that, okay? Because you need a context. To use the past perfect, Mariana, if you realize, you need a context. Why? Because the past perfect is something that happened before another past event, right? So you need another past event first. So you can say, by the time you called me, you're going to say that you prepared the cookies before that person called you. So how do you say here that you prepared the cookies before?
I had
You
prepared cookies.
great. Some, right? You could say crackers and you complete that idea, right? Good. That's it. And that's it. Do you see here, Mariana? First, I'm giving the context. By the time what? You called me, comma. What happened before you called me? I had prepared some cookies.
Yes.
Right? Do you have any questions about these sentences, Mariana? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I don't have any.
Good. Thank you very much. And Sharai, let's finish this up with you, please.
Okay, the first one is, by the time they were on their COVID treatment, I had making lunch. And finally, by the middle of my last semester, the quarantine had begun.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to make a few corrections. It's just in terms of the past participle, right? The sentences and the ideas are great, Sharai. Just remember, this is easy. Make is base form, the simple past is made, and the past participle is also made. All right, so you only say made. I had made lunch. In the second one, began is the simple past, but the past participle is with you. All right, because it's begin, began, and began. All right, begin, began, began. But that's it. By the middle of my last semester, the quarantine, right, had begun. That's great. I don't know if you have any questions about those corrections, Sharai. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, there's no questions. But and in both, in the sentence, the first action that happened, well, in the first sentence, it's I have made lunch, and then happened the treatment, the COVID treatment.
Yes. If you, I mean, grammatically speaking, it means that, Sharai. It means that this action happened before this action, right? Before they were on their COVID treatment, comma, I had made lunch. So this is first and this is second, according to your sentence, Sharai. The same here. By the middle of my last semester, it means before your last semester. So this is first and this is second. So whenever you have a sentence in the past perfect, the sentence in the past perfect is always going to be the first event in the past, and the rest of the sentences in the past are going to be second, third, and so on. Okay?
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Good, thank you. And that's it. I know that we spend more time in the past perfect, but I know that you had some doubts, many doubts. The last thing I'm going to check with you. So this is for you. You can use when, you can use before, and you can use after with the past perfect. All right? Now, these are some common expressions. For example, Lourdes was using, all right? By the way, Lourdes is always going to leave at 7 because of some things, but Lourdes wrote a sentence using already. So please, if you want to use already, you have to use it in the middle of had and the verb. If you want to use yet, you have to use it at the end of the sentence. And if you want to use never, you're going to use it in the middle of had and the verb. So already, right? Already is in affirmative sentences, right? Who wants to try to explain this? I'm going to be asking actually some of you, and I'm going to try with you, please, Whitney. What do you say about already? Do you know how to use this word? And when do you use it? What do you say? Already.
When you finish something to do.
Exactly. And when you finish something before the time it was expected, right? Before the time it was expected. So I already watched that movie. For example, right? When someone tells you, do you want to watch that movie? Sorry, right? I already watched that movie. So you finished before expected. What about yet, Sharai? Do you know when to use yet and how to use it?
It's when you didn't do something.
Exactly. And what else? You didn't do something, and are you planning to do that in the future or not?
Yes, you are planning to do this thing on the future, but you didn't do.
Perfect. Great. That's the characteristic, right? It's something that you want to do, but you didn't do it yet, right? But you didn't do it. That's when you use yet, right? So that's why you use yet also in negative sentences, all right? So already affirmative sentences, yet negative sentences, and I know, right? Never, right? But I'm going to ask Mariana, when do you use never? What's the meaning of never, let's say, right? And when do you use it?
I don't know how to explain it, but when you don't don't want to make something, I think.
Okay, yes, when you don't want to do something, when you like, you can say and use this expression, Mariana, when you don't want to do something at all right? Or when you didn't do it, all right? So when you didn't do it and you don't want to do this at all, it can be the explanation, all right? So yes, it's something that like didn't happen, all right? Never you say that. When it didn't happen during your whole life, you say never, right? It's something that didn't happen during your whole life. Never. Good. And when do you use never? In affirmative sentences. For example, I never go to the gym, right? I never, right, watched that movie. I never do this. I never did that. So you can use these expressions with the past perfect using these formulas. All right, that's again also something for you if you want to add some words. And here to finish this lesson, I have some examples. You're going to help me reading, please, the first three, Whitney, help me out with these three, please.
By 2010, I had already graduated from school. When you arrived, the show had finished. Before she mentioned it, we hadn't realized that it was there yet.
Thank you very much. So here we're using already and we're using yet, right? Already in affirmative sentences, right? By 2010 or 2010, I had already graduated from school. So it happened before it was expected. When you arrived, the show had finished. So first, the show finished. Second, you arrived. Before she mentioned it, right, we hadn't realized that it was there yet. So it didn't happen, but it was going to happen or it's going to happen. So first, we hadn't realized, right? Second, before she mentioned it. The next three, please, if you can help me. Sorry, the next two, no, three, directly the three, please, Sharai. Let's read the three sentences, please, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay, number 4. After they studied for months, the professor canceled the test. Number 5. By the time you entered the classroom, the practice had already begun. Number 6. Before it happened, I had never thought of that idea.
Thank you very much, Sharai. So I'm using here already and I'm using never, right? So already in affirmative sentences, never in affirmative sentences. Okay, so here the first action, the practice had begun. The second action, right, you entered. First, I had never thought. Second, it happened. So this is past perfect. If you have any questions, let me know, because we're going to start with the new lesson, please. So it's important that you can let me know if you have some questions. It's very important. You are not going to be using like already, yet a lot, but it's important that you can see where you have to use them. All right? So that is it then with this lesson. In these last minutes that we have, we're going to cover the last lesson for this unit. But before this, remember that you need to take, right, a quiz. I'm going to assign the quiz and you're going to have until perhaps Friday. No, it's going to be a lot because you're going to need things to do until Thursday. Okay? I'm going to assign the quiz and you're going to have until Thursday to take it. Okay, so let me do it. Again, if you want to check this information, everything is always on Google Classroom. Give me 1 second, please. I'm going to stop sharing this. I'm going to show you in a second if you want to finish copying. But let's do that here. I saw that some of you didn't take all the quizzes. Okay, remember that everything is planned, right? I showed you the calendar. Remember, on the first day, even I mentioned that on the second day, you have the calendar on Google Classroom. So I've been assigning everything according to that calendar. If you couldn't complete some of the quizzes, please, it's important to let management know about that. All right. Why? Why is it important? Because perhaps if you don't take all the quizzes, you're not going to have like the score you need to pass, right, to the next course. So I'm going to show you here your scores. You have access to this. Whitney asked me something similar, right, one of the last classes. And I was telling, right, Whitney, I was telling you that everything that is here is everything that you have. It means that I don't touch these grades. Everything is generated automatically. So the grades that you have here are the grades that you have. But remember that I'm going to use the logic that I showed you. 30% is going to be assignment, 30% is going to be the quizzes, right? And 40% is going to be the last or the final test. It seems that at the end you took it, so everybody is doing it. That's great. If you want to see this in detail, you can click again on Model B. And for example, look, I'm going to click on the first unit. So these are your scores, right, on the first unit. Some of you did it great. Most of you did it great. Perhaps you had some problems, but it was not bad. These are your scores. This is your 30% of the assignment section. This is your 30% of the quiz section or the test. That's first unit. You click in the second unit, that's it. This is like your score for the assignments in the second unit, and this is your score for the quiz of the second unit. Now the third unit, remember that it finishes today, right? Let's wait, it's loading. Okay, there you go. Some of you didn't do it yet, right? Remember that you have to do it today. And even I know that sometimes you have this problem. That's why the date is set for tomorrow. All right. So the maximum, right, time that you have to finish this is today and tomorrow. Try to do it, please. Okay. You have until tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. to finish these assignments. And now what I'm going to assign is this quiz. Do you see? Everything is there. So if you want to check your grades, everything that is here is everything that you're going to see on the final scores. So I go to course, and I'm going to assign now the third quiz. Again, you can take the quiz today, you can take it tomorrow, maximum you can take it on Thursday. So I go to review quizzes, and I always assign the last quiz. The last quiz, all right, includes listening, vocabulary, speaking, grammar, pronunciation, and reading. If you have any questions about this, let me know, but it's as simple as I showed you. Every unit shows me what's your score for your assignments and what's your score for the quiz. That's what I copy and I paste into a document, and that's what I send, all right, to Executive English. And so Thursday, right? That's the deadline for the third quiz. You have 50 minutes for the quizzes. That's it. Again, so if you have any questions about this, also let me know. Good. Finally, then, in the last minutes, let's introduce, all right, ourselves to this last topic, that is infinitives with adjectives and nouns. And just in case, I think you were copying this, I'm going to show you this one more time so that you can finish copying, but I'm going to explain you, right? Infinitives. I'm going to be asking some questions. Let's start with you, Mariana. Mariana, do you know what is an infinitive? And can you give me an example of a verb in the infinitive form? What do you say, Mariana? All right, let's go then with you, Sharai. What about you, Sharai? Do you know about infinitives? Do you know what's an infinitive? And do you know an example of a verb in the infinitive form?
Well, I don't know how to explain, but I could give you an example of infinitive, which
Okay.
is to run or
Great.
to run.
Good.
And
Perfect. That's it. With example is more than enough, Sharai, because I know that you know what an infinitive is. And that's the most important, right? So an infinitive is simply, right, a verb, right? A form of a verb. That's an infinitive, all right? A form of a verb. Because a verb, right, may have at least 3 forms: base form, infinitive, and gerund, right? Base form is run. Infinitive is to run. And gerund is running, right? So an infinitive is a form that a verb, right, may have. Run, to run, running. So yes, as you said, Sharai, very well, to run is the infinitive form. All right, that's the only thing I need you to know. So with that explanation, I'm going to close now this presentation and I'm going to go here. I know that some of you were not in the program, all right, from the very beginning or at least in the last months, but we covered infinitives. I think it was in A9 or A10, no, A9 or A8. And it's important that you can verify that information, please, Sharai, Whitney, Mariana, to check when to use infinitives. Why? Because in this explanation, I'm not going to teach you all the usages of infinitives. I'm only going to teach you two, all right? So let's try to make and work with this review, please. Whitney, if you can read all the review, please.
Okay, let's remember that we use infinitive in specific situations. There are 4 main ways of using it.
Great, and let's read the 4, please, also.
Okay, 1 as the subject of a sentence, 2 after specific verbs, 3 with another person that performs the actions, 4 to talk about purpose.
Purpose, right? Good. Thank you very much. So, in case that you don't know that, I'm going to write some examples. It says, as the subject of a sentence. I'm going to verify. Mariana, are you there?
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
Okay. So, Mariana, we are learning about infinitives, right? An infinitive is to plus the verb. For example, to run, to eat, right? To and any verb, right? To eat, for example. What do you think that we do to use the infinitive as the subject of a sentence? Can you try to give me a sentence in which the infinitive is the subject, Mariana? Just try. Remember that the sentence has to be subject plus verb plus complement. So it means that you have to use the infinitive as the subject. And then you need to use any verb and then a possible complement. It's not obligatory. What do you say, Maria? Try to give me a sentence in which the subject is an infinitive.
Okay, I don't know if it's right, but it can be to eat, we need to prepare the food.
Okay, the sentence is okay, but actually it's not the subject. It's something different. So to eat, comma, because actually in the sentence you wrote, to eat is like the introductory phrase. We need, right, to, sorry, of course this is backwards. We need to prepare the food. Your sentence is correct, Mariana, but you're not using this as a subject because you're using we as a subject. To eat is like it's a complement, but it's like an introductory phrase. And it's correct. To eat, we need to prepare the food. That's perfect. I'm going to help you out with this. Your sentence is very good, but it's a different kind of infinitive. An infinitive like that, it's going to be this one, Mariana, and it's going to be very easy. Any infinitive, to eat. Any verb, is. Any complement can be, for example, what? No, to eat is delicious. That's a sentence, and that's the subject of your sentence. Do you see, Mariana? To eat.
Yes.
My subject is the verb, and delicious is my complement. All right, so this is how you use it when you use infinitives as subjects. Let's try one with you now, please, Mariana. Following this example, try to give me one more sentence using infinitive as subject. What do you think?
Like to read
Very good.
is very good to our minds.
Good, good.
For our minds.
Great, that's it. And it's perfect, Mariana, it's good. So do you see? Infinitive as subject. That's it. Any infinitive plus any verb plus any complement. Do you have any questions about that, Mariana? Let me know, please.
No, teacher, thank you.
Perfect, thank you. Now let's work with the second one. This is just because I want to be sure that you know how to use infinitives very
Teacher,
well.
one question, sorry.
Tell me.
This first point, it's we consider in our thesis for objectives.
Yes, you use this kind of conjugation for thesis, for example. Yes, Sharai, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that's why that was great, Sharai, because when you use infinitive as the subject of your sentence, it's very, very formal, okay? You don't use this when speaking. You only use this when writing. In speaking, instead of infinitive, you use gerund. Eating is delicious, all right? This is more common. And this is more informal. Eating is delicious, but it's correct. The most formal way to say that is to eat. And it's formal and it's academic. And as Sharai, you were mentioning, you use this like in academic projects, papers, when you want to formulate the objectives, right, that you want to pursue, you use this kind of conjugation. Okay?
Okay.
Good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The second one is for you, Whitney. It says after some verbs, after specific verbs. Do you know what verbs are the verbs that are followed by infinitives, Whitney? At least one or two.
Like enjoy?
One more time, please.
Like enjoy?
Okay, enjoy, but actually enjoy is followed by gerund. Only gerund, not infinitives. The rule is that after enjoy, you have to use gerund. It means the verb plus ing. I enjoy playing, I enjoy cooking, I enjoy traveling, right? So enjoy is for gerunds. What other verbs? What are the 4 verbs that you learn first when you are learning English? Do you remember what are like the 4 main verbs of English? Are verbs related to necessity, verbs related to things that we do as activities?
Verbs like I don't know, but
For example,
I know that is after, for example, gerunds, going to eat or going to buy.
Okay, good. Except in that case, it's because of going to, right? And going to is like an expression, and they consider that sometimes infinitive, but sometimes they say going to is an expression, and then you use the base form. But I'm going to give you a clue here. These are 4 verbs that are considered very important. One starts with L, the other one starts with H, the other one with N, all right? And the last one, if I'm not wrong, it's going to be W. Do you know what are these 4 verbs? Who knows? Who knows these verbs?
Tell, for example.
Tell, okay. You're saying tell, right?
Yes.
Okay, can be one verb. And these ones, just in case, are going to be like, right? Are going to be have, need, and want. All right. Those are like the 4 main verbs in English. It means that after these verbs, you can use infinitives, right? I like to drink water. I have to go. I need to study. I want to tell you something, right? So after some verbs, after specific verbs, you use infinitives. And my example is going to be this one, right? She wants to go right to the party. That's it. So in this case, we are using infinitive. Why? Because after want, we always use infinitives. That is the idea over there. So that is the second point. All right. We're going to finish at least these 4 points today. In the third one, this is going to be for you, Sharai. With another person that performs the action. This is hard. No, actually, that's for the fourth one with you. I'm going to tell you the third one. The fourth one. To talk about purpose. It means something that you want to achieve, Sharai. Can you try to give me an example following these 4 ideas, or do you know how to use the infinitive in the 4 sense to talk about purpose? What do you say, Sharai?
I don't know, teacher. I think that I know, I learned about that, but I don't remember right now.
All right, I'm going to help you out then, Sharai. I'm going to ask you a question. Why are you studying English, Sharai? Why are you studying English?
If I answer as the fourth, as you said that here, it's to travel.
Good.
To
Very good.
to
travel where?
travel, to travel abroad, to travel to USA.
Very good. So I study English to travel abroad, right? So here you're not using infinitive because you use infinitive after English, right? No, you're using infinitive because this is the purpose of this action, right? This is the purpose of this action. So that is number 4. When you mention an idea, for example, I study English, and you want to say why you are doing that, you can use infinitive, right? So that's explanation that you can do, right? You can work out. You use infinitive to talk about purpose, right? To show what's the reason behind an action. I play the guitar, right, to be famous. I study English to travel abroad, right? I'm on a diet to be healthy, right? I am on a diet to be healthy. So it's the reason behind that activity. That is purpose, right? That is purpose. That is your objective. Now, this one, as I told you, is hard, but you use it very similar to what you do with instructions. Remember instructions? Go to this is an instruction I'm going to tell you, right? Join the class. Remember, that is an instruction. Join the class. Instead of saying that instruction, you can use, it's a mixture between this and another subject. You can say this: I need you to join, all right, the class. So what is the difference? That in number 3, you need a subject. Well, in this case, if you want to be like deep into grammar, you need an object. In this one, you don't need an object. Do you see? She wants to go. No object. But here, the object is you. I need you to join the call, to join the class. All right, and that is number 3. Is when you want to tell someone to do something for you. All right, that is number 3. When you or another person wants someone else to do an action for you or for that other person. And you have many other examples. You can say, for example, she wants him to be her boyfriend, right? And you can go on. I was expecting you to, right? I was expecting you to, I don't know, finish it out. So the same idea, right? And in all the sentences, what is the common idea? That you have an object, all right? That's the common idea. So to finish this up, please, I want to be sure that you understand these 4, because this is key to go to the explanation that I'm going to give you on Wednesday, all right? Because on Wednesday, with this knowledge, I'm going to teach you how to use the infinitives, but with different ideas. And in this case, it's going to be adjectives and nouns. All right, this is what we're going to cover on Wednesday. You're going to learn how to use adjectives, how to use infinitives after adjectives and after nouns. But once again, do you have any questions about these 4 important points of infinitives? Let me know if you do, please. Okay, good. That's perfect. Then let me modify that idea. Great. Let's finish then here. I'm going to share, as always, the poll. Please complete the poll, and that's going to be it for today's class. I'm going to see you tomorrow for the conversations that we always have. All right? Please wait a second. The poll is loading. It was a mistake, all right, so I'm sending it one more time. Let me stop sharing. Let me try one more time, please. I'm sending the poll. Okay, there you go. Now it worked. So you finish filling this out, and that's it. Have a good night. Thank you for being in class, and I'll see you tomorrow for the conversations, all right?
Okay, bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Take care. Have a good night.
Hi, teacher.
Bye-bye.
Did you send the poll? I don't receive anything.
Yes, I did it, Sharai. Actually, your partners completed this, and it says like 2 out of 2. The 2 of them completed this. Were you not able to see this, Sharai?
No, teacher, I didn't see.
Good. Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second. I'm going to save this because I need to send the results to management. I'm going to share it one more time. Okay, give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Okay, today is 24th. Good. All right, so I'm sharing it one more time. Taking some time. Okay, and let me download that. Okay. All right, so you must be able to see it now, please, Sharai. Let me know.
No, teacher, I didn't see anything.
I think that sometimes it happens. Are you from your cell phone right now, Sharai?
Yes, teacher, I'm from my cell phone.
But the last times you were also from your cell phone and you were able to see the survey, right? The poll.
Yes, teacher, I always connected to the class by my cell phone, and this is the first time that I have this problem.
All right, that's weird. Yes, because I see here, well, the thing I always see, right? It says the spectators are watching the questions now, and it says 0 out of 1. So it means that you have to complete this. But I'm going to try to do it one more time. Let's try one more time. If not, let's try something, please, Sharai, if it's not a lot to ask. Try to leave the class and try to join one more time to see if it's
Okay,
going to
teacher.
work. Okay?
Okay,
Let's see if it
okay,
works
no
like that.
problem. I will see you.
Okay. All right, Sharai. So I'm going to try to send it again. I hope that it works this time. There you go. I don't know if you can see it now.
Now, teacher, it works.
Great. That's great. So thank you very much, Sharai. Thank you for doing it one more time. I'll see you tomorrow in the conversation. All right. Have a good night.
You too, teacher. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.